So you've just moved to New York City with your furry friends, but where are they allowed to walk? Where are they allowed to pee? What are the leash rules here in New York City? These are all questions we're going to be answering in today's video about dealing with dogs in the city. Hey guys, I'm Robbie Frank, and today I'm joined with my girlfriend Kathy Zen.
Hey guys!
As well as our two dogs, Milo and Misa. So if you are moving to New York City or you're concerned about bringing your pets to the city, hopefully this video will alleviate some of the stress that you have. So the first thing we're going to talk about is curbing your dog. So what does that even mean? It basically means try to get your dog to pee as close to the street as possible. And the reason is the closer you get to the sidewalk, the easier it's going to be for the street cleaners to clean up the mess that your dog's made. We're all sharing this city, so it's definitely best not to just pee in the middle of the road where everyone's avoiding it like an obstacle. And if you've got a bigger dog, definitely consider using the grates because that's just taking away the whole mess factor altogether.
And even if you have a smaller dog, go on the smaller grates so that they won't fall through, and that works just as well if your dog likes it. One thing to keep in mind is that it might be really hard for your dog to pee on concrete if they're used to peeing on grass because their pee just goes right into the ground. So that leads us to where should your dogs pee? Or more importantly, where shouldn't your dogs pee? Don't let them pee on the sides of buildings or on any private property like restaurant signs. Also, don't let them pee on flower beds or grass on the sidewalks because dog urine is very damaging to plants and it'll actually kill them. So gently lead them to the side of the sidewalk.
So one thing you definitely got to bring with you is some doggy bags. You know, your dogs are gonna have to poop, and when they do, you gotta clean it up. This is our city. We gotta collectively help each other to clean it up, and part of that is picking up your dog's crap. These aren't expensive. You can get 4 rolls of these at the dollar store for like $1, so there's no excuse not to pick up after your dog.
New York City is a dog-friendly city, which means you can actually bring your dogs on the subway as long as you're in a carrier or you're actually carrying them. They're not really allowed to touch anything on the interior of the train, but you can walk them down to the subway all the way onto the boarding platform as long as you scoop them up before you enter the train.
So if your furry friend has been a good boy or a good girl, you might want to take them on an extra special walk. We wanted to mention a couple of places that you can bring your dog. Right now we are in Madison Square Park, which actually has 2 different dog parks built into it. There is a section for big dogs and even a section just for little dogs.
There are actually a whole lot of places where you can walk your dogs. Most parks are a safe bet, so Madison Square Park, where Robbie just mentioned, Bryant Park, Central Park, Washington Square Park, you name it. If it's a park, you can probably have your dogs on a leash and walk them through the greenery. There are things called dog runs here in New York City, which is an off-leash area where you can have your dog socialize with other dogs. In the description down below, we'll put an article of 15 best dog runs here in Manhattan for you to check out. But just remember, wherever you're planning on taking your dogs, go online and check their rules first and hours before you take your dogs there.
One of the cool things about Madison Square Park, if you decide to bring your dog here, is that there's this Shake Shack behind me, and they actually sell dog treats that you can buy.
So I just got the bag of bones, and the dogs actually love this, so I'm just gonna break it open. There's 5 bones in here, and each one is stamped with the Shake Shack logo, but they're only allowed to have half at a time. Oh, a very dry dog biscuit.
Lisa, you're making this video pretty difficult. Okay, we're gonna switch. Is that better? We switch now. One thing we wanted to mention is people, strangers, trying to pet your dog.
But you are in charge of your dog, and you know your dog's the best. So if your dogs don't like being pet or are overwhelmed already, inform the stranger who wants to pet your dog, because if your dog freaks out and bites the other person, it's on you.
It's true, and you know, you never know a dog's history, what it's been through, whether it was in a shelter or whether it was a stray or whether it was beaten with a previous owner. You don't know its history, so the big thing is just don't assume.
Yeah, and be firm. If you can be nice while being firm, that's great, but if the person's not listening, just be firm and walk away if your dog doesn't want to be pet.
Yeah.
They think that they're going on a walk, but we're just going to tell you guys about the leashes that we use. When we first came to New York City, we had this leash, which worked really well in the suburbs. It's one of those mechanical leashes where you can lock in wherever you want the distance to be, and they will stay like that. Or you can have them have free reign and walk away from you. But we don't have that luxury here in New York City of space. So I found that it was easier to just have a physical rope leash. Now this is a really long leash that's a convertible, so you can tie it around your waist or tie it across your body when you're walking with your dogs. But since we have two small dogs, we just folded it in half and put their harnesses on the bottom.
With the more mechanical leashes, I feel like you're kind of getting tugged in two different directions. What's nice about the rope leash is they kind of walk each other a little bit with you kind of guiding them just a little. If you have dogs in New York City, one thing that you have to get is a registration for your dog.
Yeah, you have to have a New York City dog license. They will email your license once you've paid for it and applied for it. I have theirs printed out, taped back to back so that I always have it with me. Also, they have corresponding red tags that are on their harnesses. Let me show you. This red tag right here is their New York City dog license, and they will send you one every time you renew your license, I believe. Mine is for 1 year. You can get it up to 5 years at a time. Also, they have their rabies vaccination tag, which they also have to have with them at all times when they're out in public. They don't care if they're naked out.
New York City is a dense place, so you get to know your neighbors. And you gotta make sure that your dogs, when you leave, aren't just like barking all day or peeing all over the apartment. So living with your dogs at home and getting them to get used to you being away sometimes when you're at work or if you have to go out to see friends, it's important.
When we are both out, we lock them in the bathroom, which sounds cruel, but our bathroom is pretty big and they're pretty small, so we load it up with their favorite blankets and their favorite toys and their doggy bed and also food and water, but also a pee-pee pad because sometimes they get excited or Milo drinks too much water and expects us to be home in 2 hours when we're actually out for 3. So we have actually trained both of them to try and go on the pee-pee pad. They're kind of like, imagine like a diaper material. When the dogs pee on the pee-pee pad, it kind of absorbs it and kind of gets bigger. I accidentally one time put the pee-pee pad in the shower and forgot it was there and started showering, and it absorbed all the water and expanded into this giant ball. It's really funny.
Well guys, I think it's time to take these dogs for a little walk. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any stress about moving to New York City with your furry friend, I hope this alleviated some of the stress that you have. That's all for this video. Thanks so much for Kathy helping out, as well as our 2 dogs, Misa and Milo. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and you can click the bell to stay up to date on all of our new content. That's all for now. I'm Robbie Frank. This is Kathy Zen. Safe travels, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye!